Hello and welcome to the CMIP Debate Theatre here at NAB Show 2022. Our next session, Rights Management in the Intelligent Content Era, will be presented by Albert Niero from FinCons Group. Albert, welcome to the stage.
Hello, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. It's really a pleasure. I'm Alberto Niero, and I'm leading the media business unit within FinCons Group. It's really important for us to celebrate this. I'm here today for announcing and actually introducing to the market for the first time our new solution for rights management, which is called All Rights. It's really an important milestone for us after about more than 35 years in the market. Originally established in Italy, our company then have grown organically and established in Switzerland and more recently in other countries. Now with a presence in Switzerland, Germany, France, UK and the US. Historically we have been a system integrator and technology consulting company. We are now making this step to also propose our services as a software vendor. But of course we will also maintain our DNA of system integration. So what we do, what's our background? We support our customers in their transformation initiatives. This is something we do since several years in the main markets where we are active. So we do not do only media, but media is one of the main areas where we target our focus. And working with Tier 1 customers in the media, we have been able to be exposed to the main needs, challenges. We understand pretty well all the trends which are ongoing in the industry. And the main one, this, I would say, last decade is certainly about the big fragmentation of the audience and the battle which is ongoing to keep the audience or conquer new audience. Clearly, content is a key enabler to win this battle, but content is becoming more and more expensive with limited rights availabilities windows. So in general, what we see is a big fluidity in the content supply chain because everybody's trying to try something else. So we see people who are used to base their business on acquired content, investing much more in internal productions, and therefore also having to monetize those production, reselling that content, maybe to new territories or to new markets in a real global approach. So I would say that one of the main characteristics we identified is that there is not anymore a clear position within the content chain of the media companies we work with because they want to be able to move across this chain. So I would say that the main, let's say, context for launching a new rights management product in this world is to be able to support this fluidity. So being able to support this ability to move from one rule to another role. So that's the way I would position All Rights. So a single, all-encompassing solution to maximize the return on investment on every asset in the catalog of our different services. But there are clearly more detailed, let's say, background about our decision to invest in this. So on top of being exposed to the typical needs of our customers, we also conducted a survey before, let's say, confirming the strategic initiatives, and we have been able to identify 6 main clusters of requirements which are somehow common to the various companies we talk to and who are somehow struggling with their current situations. So these main ones are those who somehow drove the directions for the development of our solution. The first one is about having a unique and centralized solution to support the end-to-end rights process for any type of content, so probably the cornerstone. The second is ability to make better use of people time and avoid involving them in repetitive and not that valuable activities. So reduce human effort, make the overall work as effective as possible. Some of the people we interviewed about the needs say that several solutions currently on the market focus on the wrong aspects, because once metadata are into the system, everything is relatively easy. The big thing is how to bring this metadata into the system. So that was a very interesting perspective, and we think we have tools that perfectly address this point of view. The third is about optimizing every asset and at best the inventory available, given that we all live in a very pressure environment. And the fourth one is about speed. So things start in a way, then evolve. So everybody knows that systems are not stable, need to evolve, and reducing time to market is key. So we as an SI have experienced several important transformation projects involving third-party products where this was easily becoming an issue. So we put a lot of focus also on this aspect. The fifth one is about the trend of not having anymore the big typical monolithic systems that have been used so far, but try to have architectures which are based on the guidelines of openness and microservices. So best of breed architecture where each component can be fit and integrate with the rest of the ecosystem in a very effective way. So this was another important guideline and also very, very aligned with our DNA of system integrators. And finally, of course, the pressure on cost, reducing cost, and as much as possible making them variable and growing with the business, not fixed cost. And again, this was relatively easy for us to address, given that we had the chance to start from scratch. So we developed our solution without any legacy, without any constraint, and of course we designed it as a fully cloud offered in a software as a service approach with multi-tenant option. So in order to try address all of those categories of requirement, I would say what we come up with is the approach summarized in this picture you can see, where there are three main pillars behind all rights. The first one is the set of core capabilities, so the typical capabilities you would expect in a rights management system, but made available in a very intuitive way. So we put a lot of emphasis on designing a easy-to-use user interface. We try to get inspired by the B2C applications rather than by the typical back-office management systems. We wanted to make the easy operations easy to do, but at the same time ensure we can support also the most complex activities, and we know how it can become complex certain situations where rights are very articulated and the various dimensions cross each other. On top of these core capabilities, we developed a set of smart features. These smart features are sort of plugins, but they are designed in a way that they can also be used by companies which are using a different rights management system. So a smoother path for adoption towards a right, and applicable also to other solutions. This is where we are more successfully relying on AI, ML, NLP, so the newest technologies which allows to really make innovation at the basis of our product. The final one is related to the technology stack. As I said, we had the opportunity to start from scratch, so we designed something selecting the most advanced tech stack and ensuring all the guidelines of remaining open, being interoperable with the rest of the system, being scalable, are at the very core. So I try to do slightly a better flavor of how we believe we address the various needs one by one, showing how the mixture of core capabilities, smart features, and technology stack contribute to make All Rights a very effective product. So on the core capability side, first of all, we give to rights in and rights out exactly the same dignity, importance, and relevance. We know that several solutions out of the market come from the goal of serving a particular, let's say, space in the content chain, some for people more focused on acquiring content and using that content, other to resell content. So according to the fluidity concept I highlighted before, we try to give exactly the same, let's say, relevance and importance, and make the two aspects of rights in or rights out absolutely coherent and consistent and easy to use. Then we cover every type of rights. So we cover talent, format, production management, and we know when we move to the production world, a lot is related to combining existing pieces of content in new content. So also the elemental rights, the ability to manage elemental rights is becoming more and more important, and we embedded it natively into our solution. Then we saw sometimes rights management system being used to enter contracts once they were signed, and having completely out of the system through Excel, emails, etc., the support for the whole negotiation phase. So we believe this is not particularly effective, so we decided to incorporate into our rights also the support for the pre-contract, let's say, phase, so the negotiation phase, and even the earlier stage of opportunity management. So you can move from a very high level tracking of the opportunities to the management of the negotiation, where of course you don't need to have all the details available, and then promote the negotiation to a contract if it becomes a contract, with also the potential of having all the history of this information, let's say, structured, stored in the solution. Another aspect guiding our design was not trying to reinvent the wheel and trying to remain as focused as possible in terms of scope. So, for example, the finance aspect, we know that are very relevant, especially in certain contexts, but we don't want to recreate all the typical features that will be possible to be managed in the finance systems, ERP systems. So we'll be limited in undefining them, which needs to be managed within a rights management system because of the strong dependency of the rest of the data and business logic managed at that level. Second topic, reduce as much as possible human effort. So here we've got a number of core capabilities which relates to ensuring the most important information are very easily accessible to the various end users. For those who are interested to have a demo, we are demoing our product at our booth here in the West Hall. You will see that when the user log in, he landed in a screen which is a summary of the most important KPI indicators, which will of course depending on the type of user. Plus, we've got a number of features which allows to easily perform some actions on massive data. So bulk operation, templates, this kind of features. In terms of technology, we saw, and I already mentioned, the focus we put on the UI, which we try to make as intuitive as possible, easy to use, intuitive for the users. And again, this will make their life easier. And finally, we've got one of our smart features, which is specifically dedicated in trying to either avoid or at least support the data entry of contracts. It's really an automatic contract import capability, which extensively use NLP, so natural language processing, in order to automatically extract the main terms, condition, but also all the movies information typically included in a contract automatically. It can be, again, full automation, or more likely a sort of augmentation of the data entry activity, relying on the user for the final approval or for the final adjustment instead of the full data entry. The other smart features which are part of our product are 100% focused on ensuring to maximize the ability to control and exploit content. And in particular, what we are developing is a smart recommendation engine, which is allowing to recommend the content that should be used for internal distribution. So for example, for a broadcaster who needs to create its linear schedule, having some recommended content to be included in the schedule in order to maximize the rights availability and the inventory, plus other features related to reselling content, which not only ensure that the reselling takes place according to the rights availability, but also to external factors that can be captured, for example, through sentiment analysis on social media, what type of content is more likely to be welcomed in certain countries and in certain periods. About time to market, the fourth requirement, this is really where we have been able to, let's say, apply our experience as an SI. So we put a strong emphasis on making our product configurable in terms of data model, new attributes, configurable in terms of screen layout. We've got a layout manager which allows you to personalize the screen. And when I say allows you, means allowing the client, of course. So because there are also the administration console, the administration tool allowing to do it smoothly. And from a, let's say, infrastructure perspective, of course, we are multi-language, multi-currency, multi-entity, multi-everything in order to have the structure ready to support even the most complex environment. Plus, the rights matrix, which is at the core, of course, of our solution, is fully configurable. So there are not predefined dimensions, predefined attributes, but as part of the configurability, let's say, focus, this can be defined and can be configured according to specific client needs. Fifth requirement was about being open. So this is obtained thanks an API, open API layer, which is used also by the system itself. So we will expose those APIs to external systems, and they will be the same adopted by the system. Plus, we incorporated and embedded into the system a workflow manager solution. You know how workflows are important in approvals of contracts, of negotiations. It can be designed graphically and can support very articulated processes. And finally, for, let's say, addressing the sixth requirement, we have a cloud native solution offered as a software as a service with multi-tenant options in a very affordable way from an economic perspective. So we are here at NIB showcasing for the very first time our rights, showcasing release 1.7, which was delivered in March. Now the next important milestone for us is at the end of the year. So in Q4 we will have our release 1.8, which will complete, let's say, the current coverage. And then we are planning to have a couple of major releases by each year, starting from H2 to under 2023. Final recap, why FinCons make sense. Of course, we believe we have a distinctive, newest, fresh product. But on top of that, we also have our history, our DNA, which remains there. So first of all, we will maintain our system integration DNA and perspective and way to approach transformation project. We will maintain and exploit even more than in the past the know-how we have been able to collect over time with all our customers, and we'll also be able to scale our resources. The development of our product is currently being based in our smart shore in Bari, south of Italy, where we have more than 800 people. So also the scalability of our professional services will likely be a differentiating factor for us. Thanks again for joining. As I said, we are here in West Hall, so please come and have a look at our product. It will be all right.